Well, after that marvelous art.
Yeah, now you get us.
Yeah, like.
Sorry. So, our project, we were doing the. Should I be speaking to the microphone? Yeah. Sorry, guys. We decided, well, we had to do a comics project, and so we decided, okay, this is an opportunity to be ridiculous. And so we decided that we all had really bad sex ed in high school, and that it would be a really fun idea to, like, very similar to the tea and consent video that's very popular on YouTube, that we would do ours in kind of the same fashion and a lot the same aesthetic, except not about consent specifically, but more sex ed on the whole.
So just for the project purpose, it was supposed to be about something that correlated to college students. And like we said, our sex ed experiences all kind of sucked. So we figured, what's a better opportunity than to kind of make fun of our sex ed experiences and maybe teach people something along the way. Again, we were highly influenced by tea and consent, and we really wanted to do a very simple aesthetic because we felt it contrasted greatly with the complexity of the topic, and it also allows people to focus on the content. And then throughout the styles, there's slight changes in the aesthetic just to convey topics differently.
All right, so here we go. Go for it, Miranda.
Consent. Let's start off talking about consent.
There
You must always ask before any sexual advances. If your partner says anything but yes, stop. Even if you've had sex with a partner before, you must get consent every time. If your partner is unconscious, they're unable to give consent. Consent is necessary in any sort of sexual situation. Always, always ask.
Cool. Something not often talked about in sex ed classes is gender, and it is extremely important to realize that there is more to gender than male and female. As we can see, gender and sex exist on a spectrum, and being a certain sex does not define gender identity or expression. If you are in a non-binary relationship, it is still important to practice safe and consensual sex to prevent STIs and unwanted pregnancy.
There's many ways to get pregnant, two of which include the old-fashioned way or in a lab. If you think you're pregnant, you should pee on a stick. And there's two possibilities. It's either a plus or a minus. Both positive and negative pregnancy tests are good or bad depending on your life circumstances. If you do get pregnant, your baby will grow in 3 stages called trimesters. There's trimester 1, 2, and 3. At the end of 9 months, you end up with a baby. Wow, she's growing another human. If you get pregnant and it's not right for you, go to Planned Parenthood because they know what they're doing and they can help. It's important to think about the right time to start family for you. Not everyone is the same, and what may be right for you is not right for someone else. If you know you don't want to get pregnant, you should look into different methods of birth control.
Sexually transmitted diseases and infections. Yes, there is a difference. STIs are infections that may or may not have outward symptoms. STDs are a class of STIs that do have physical symptoms. Because STDs are part of STIs, we refer to them all as STIs. It's easier than having 2 categories. I'll assume you've already been subjected to the pictures of various STIs, so I'll save you the discomfort. Instead, I'll talk to you about how to prevent them. Unfortunately, many of the most effective birth control methods do not prevent STIs. Really, the only way to protect from STIs is to use condoms, the male or the female. Because STIs are, wrong slide, and even they don't work for all STIs, like genital warts, shudders. The 2 rules you really need to know are inspect before you inject, and if you don't know, get tested.
Thank you. Questions? Do we have questions? No? Yes.
Yeah.
Just from my personal, I did not actually have a sex ed class, so what is your stand on like high school sex ed or junior high sex ed? Like, do you think they need to fix the program?
Oh, hell
or
yes.
do you think it's the parents' responsibility?
Oh no, I think it's definitely an educational responsibility, and I think it's a public health issue too. Because, you know, people don't get properly educated and then they get sick, you know. Chlamydia runs rampant and that's not good for anybody, you know. And people get pregnant when they don't want to, and then you have other public health disorders throughout the economy and throughout the society, and that can just like screw everything up. So I think it's definitely important for schools to teach, because that's what they're supposed to do.
To address your question of like parents versus school, we're not saying that like parents have no responsibility to their child, because you very much do, but there also has to be a realization that not all parents will. It's not going to be a 100% universal. Every parent is going to address this with their child. So it's very important to have it in school so that you have a more thorough baseline. Anything else?
Yeah.
Would you imagine that this is a more regional problem? Because I personally, in Connecticut, I had human reproduction courses in 5th grade.
Do you go to public school or private school? Interesting.
So I know that they begin sex ed here in 5th grade. I had it in 5th grade, Eastern North Carolina, but it's one of those like, you know, abstinence only programs and stuff like that. We think it's very important that you address that certain regions have different views on it, but and that yes, there's probably a lot more issues in the South, if we're being honest.
Yeah, let's be clear about that.
I think
there's definitely more issues in the South.
But I think also you can't limit it to the South, because it's a problem everywhere, and there's no one who couldn't benefit from better sex ed.
Your motives seem largely satirical, but do you think this would actually be effective if like high school kids were to be exposed?
Probably. I mean, a talking sperm named Richard, like, who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't want
right? That's funny. Like, that's just genuinely funny. So, no one's gonna forget that. That's the other thing, is that, like, you know, you add the comic relief in there and it's like, oh, well, Richard said don't, you know, use a condom. So then maybe, you know, they'll think that. You know, it's not perfect, but it's better than what we've got.
With the constant focus on these abstinent onlys or tagging on with every single thing, adding like, and as we've said in the past 20 minutes again and again, also abstinence, while that is an important thing, do you think it's overdone, or do you think continually mentioning it as long as you have the other information as well, or do you think it's going to help or hurt more?
I don't know. I mean, are you asking, like, should we keep going with abstinence only and just, like, say, okay, well, first of all, we say abstinence only, but in the likely event that you don't follow our advice, this is all the other information that you need? Like, kind of like that kind of a thing, or, like...
Not just that, like, because a lot of people talk about how by being so into abstinence, but if you don't, but also abstinence, but in this information you don't, they say it shames people as well.
I can definitely see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I personally grew up in Wisconsin, so my sex ed was abstinence only, but we'll teach you about contraceptives, and here's some pictures of some gross STDs, like if you don't use protection. And honestly, I did feel shamed. We watched a video of a woman that basically yelled at us into abstinence only because, like, we would get STDs. And so I think that's not the way to educate about sex education, because if you like it or not, like, people are going to have sex. So I don't know if abstinence is even effective. Teaching it at all.
there is no such thing. It's false. It's fake news.
We just want to overhaul the entire program. Starting with Richard. Any other questions?
Nope.